Yeah, hello, good morning or good afternoon or even good night, depending on from where in the world you tuned in to today's webinar. I want to welcome you to the first part of Tool Management 101. It's a small series of 3 short webinars about tool management, the what, the why, and of course the benefits of tool management. Maybe a little something organizational in the beginning. We expect quite a big group of attendees, so which is super great. I'm really happy about that. But that also means we have to mute you all because otherwise this would end in a little chaos. But I will have plenty of room, or at least a couple minutes at the end of the webinar for questions, and we would use the chat window for those questions. Yeah, I really hope that you all are safe and healthy right now and that you stay that way. Well, I know we currently live through very strange times, but we will get through it, and we're all in a very similar situation. And I think we might as well use the time right now as productive as possible. Yeah, and I assume most of you are actually at your home right now, home office, which definitely means you have different distractions than usually at work right now. So I will keep it short, I will keep it brief, and I really hope you sit comfortably. You have the beverage of your choice in front of you, maybe a water, coffee. I actually have both. And now let's dig into Tool Management 101, or yeah, what is tool management anyway? To start with, let me introduce myself real quick. My name is Robert Auer. I am Director of Global Business Development here at TDM. I am actually a software engineer by trade. I did spend my entire professional career in the manufacturing industry, from software development, project management, product management, sales, business development. I think the main thing is that I am or was dedicated to tool management for now over 10 years. I started long before the Industry 4.0 smart manufacturing hype actually started. My background, I think, is quite international. Over the years, I was responsible for several European markets, China, India, Southeast Asia, and for 2 years now, I'm focusing on North America, which I personally like because I did actually work and live in the US for a couple of years, for actually 4 years, and I'm basically a proud honorary Michigander. So basically, when it comes to business, I am at home everywhere around the globe, actually, except for Germany, which is a funny story. But anyway, I think most of you, like me, are right now stranded at home. And it could be actually much worse for me because if I look outside the window, I can see the sun, blue skies, and a lake. So it could be much worse. Anyway, without further ado, I would say let's start today's webinar, Tool Management 101. What is tool management? As mentioned, what we want to do is a series of 3 little webinars in which I want to talk about what is tool management, why is tool management useful, and of course, last but not least, the benefits, advantages of tool management, maybe a couple key figures, ROI, and so on and so forth. Of course, every individual webinar is educational on its own, and there are definitely some overlaps and repetition, but it makes definitely sense to stick around for all of them. And if you can't attend all, or if you skip one, just register for it, and we will provide you with a recording of the session afterwards. And maybe just a side note, even though I'm using screenshots from our TDM software, but however, the webinar is absolutely brand neutral. It is about tool management in general, what state-of-the-art tool management can do. And there are many different solutions out there. Today I really just want to create awareness and understanding for the topic. And maybe as a little appetizer for starters, let me actually show you a sneak peek into the last presentation from next week, the why, the benefits of tool management, just to give you another reason why you should actually listen to me today in the first place. Because tool management can really generate big savings. 15, 20%, no exception, just by having a transparent, optimized script inventory or reduce your tool variety. You can reduce downtime or cost for scrap or machine crashes just by having the right tool at the right place at the right time or have the correct data at the machine. And you can, of course, become more faster or more efficient by increase the tool usage or be more transparent in your manufacturing process. I promise more about that in detail next week, but for now, I really just wanted you to know that the next 15 minutes are time well spent, time well invested. So before we dig into the topic, I have a question. I have like an interactive poll where I need your answer. The question is actually, are you familiar with tool management? And it's you have two ways to answer, with yes or no. And it's just for me to get a feeling about the audience, what your current status is. You're still trying to vote. We're at 60%, 65. Yeah, we're getting there. Okay, that looks good. Yeah, let's start. I mean, around about 80% of you are familiar with tool management, 20% not, which is good. So I can go dig a little bit deeper. But even if I would ask the 80% of you who know tool management, know something about tool management, my guess is that if I would ask you about the definition of tool management, I would probably get completely different answers. For some, tool management is maybe a written tool data on the back of their hand, the length, diameter, then you punch it into the machine. For some, it's documents. Maybe today is a good day to learn one German word. The German word of today is called Zettelwirtschaft. You can try this at home if nobody's listening to you. Again, Zettelwirtschaft. It's literally, it's kind of translated into paper-based management. You might also call it paper chaos. And of course, there is the most popular tool management system out there today. It's Microsoft Excel, which is very, very commonly used to manage tools. And then, of course, there are a lot of systems in the manufacturing landscape which come with some sort of integrated tool management, like vending systems, very obvious, but also CAM systems, PLM systems, or even machine tools. They come with an integrated tool management system. But these are all very narrow, dedicated solutions. This can be really good, don't get me wrong. But today we want to have a look at the bigger picture. We want to talk about a software solution which supports all sectors of the manufacturing process, which basically supports, how should I put it, the move from a more static, more traditional to a very dynamic manufacturing process. So a system which, let me click here real quick. Yeah. A system which manages the items, the assemblies, the tool list, and so on and so forth. A system which basically does nothing else but make sure that you have the right tools at the right time, at the right place. And the system provides you with answers in the design, planning, programming stage, where we have CAM interfaces and you have the digital twin. It provides the programmers with the necessary parameters, speeds and feeds of a tool, historical information, or availability of tools, of components. And they're just there, tip of your mouse. So you can be much faster in the tool selection. You get the right tool for the upcoming operation. It's easier to create assemblies. It's faster, it's better to do your NC planning because you have all the tool data, you have the graphics for programming or also for simulation. And then of course, for job planning, preparation, you have a transparent organization of your tool grip. So no more time-consuming tool search. You can prepare for the next job. You have the tools, the fixtures, the gauges, assembly drawings, everything in a system. So you have everything in a machine, at the machine, just in time. You can integrate presetters. And of course, last but not least, there's controlling. You have visibility of tool life, of tool usage, of quality. All that stuff can be done in a tool management software. And the core of every tool management system, in the end of the day, is managing the digital twin of a cutting tool. So you're all familiar with a physical tool, a tool which actually cuts metal, which makes money for you. You can touch it, it has a weight, it's cold, it's hot, it's a physical tool. But the tool management system actually manages the digital twin with all its parameters, and there are many. It's also length or diameter, but it can be so much more. It can be an article number, a price, things like that. And just a side note, the digital twin was very often like a stepchild for a lot of tool manufacturers. But now they start to realize how important actually not just the physical tool, but also the digital part of a tool for customers like you actually is. And if they don't take it serious, you definitely should remind them. And typical tool management system is providing and collecting digital tool data along the entire end-to-end manufacturing process. I mean, a typical process can look a little bit like that. I mean, these are different systems in your manufacturing chain, and different systems demand different data from the digital twin. I mean, one example, CAD PLM systems, probably they need a drawing. An ERP system like SAP, they need an article number, a price, maybe a supplier name. CAD systems need parameters, drawings. A simulation system might need a perfect 3D model of the tool. So different systems have a different demand for data. And the goal is that none of these manufacturing, let's call them entities, are siloed or like island solutions. The data should be available at every step along the entire end-to-end process. Basically one central database and multiple systems. And I did add animation into my presentation because I kind of like it. It visualizes the centralization of data. They have a single source of truth in the middle, and it shows really why writing on a piece of paper, having Excel sheets or distributed databases outside, those solutions, they must fall short for a more holistic approach. This is, I think, a really nice visualization of this fact. So, of course, what I did in the last 2 slides, that's the big picture. But for starters, I mean, maybe let's start a little bit smaller. So this is how it could look like at a typical customer. I highlighted a couple modules here in green. These are the areas where I would start with the tool management project. It's what we call the low-hanging fruit. So, and you might even have a couple systems in place already, maybe a couple CAM systems, a vending systems, or a presetter. They might already have their little tool management on their own on board. This could even be considered as step number 1. So, but step number 2 could now be bring the systems together. For example, CAM, you have multiple programmers, multiple systems. Bring them together in one database, improve the tool selection process, create better shop floor documentation. I really think that in the planning phase, this is where the hidden benefits are. Just tool selection, reusing tools, using the right tools. I would never underestimate the savings in this kind of design phase. And then, of course, vending, presetting, man, it's a no-brainer. Bring them together. Manage not just the consumable components, but manage parts, jobs, assemblies, and provide proper documentation to the operators on a shop floor, or nominal tool data to the presetter, and then send the offsets directly to the machine. Yeah, and I mean, we have a couple more minutes left, so I would really like to have a look at a sample workflow with you together. A workflow which, like this or similar, it takes place at a lot of customers worldwide. And a typical process could look like that. You have a planning stage, you have your tool crib, you have your shop floor, you have your machines. And the process could look something like that. For starters, let's just assume I have the role as a tooling engineer or maybe a CAM programmer. I start creating the tool library, and typically a tool management system manages components, items, tool items. You use those items in tool assemblies. I can see here the bill of material. That's what the assembly consists of, and assemblies are used in tool sheets. So the tool sheets, well, let me go in here. This tool sheet consists out of multiple assemblies. So that's kind of the basis of tool management. And with this basis, you can manage all your components, your tool assemblies, and your jobs. And with that, you have all your quality improvements, the cost savings, the time savings, just by having this system somewhere in the background. And now let's start the process. Let's just assume I'm a CAM programmer. I get a new job, a new part. First thing I'm going to do, I'm going to select my tool assemblies. It's nice because I already have some in my database, which I already use, so I can create them from scratch. And I will transfer all the information, the geometry, speeds, and feeds, graphics into my CAM system. I start doing my programming, and when I'm done with my programming, I send the tool list back into the tool management system. So I have my tool list with all the assemblies, all the documentation I need in the tool management system. And of course, this works not just for one CAM system, this works for multiple CAM systems. And now I have my shop floor documentation, my information, and now my process can start. First, I get all the components I need from my warehouse, from my stock. So I know the location, the quantity will automatically adjust it, items will be reordered if necessary. And then I have the information to assemble my tools, all the information I need. And last but not least, of course, the preset information. The presetter knows the nominal data, the tolerances, all information you need. And then, of course, if you want to add kind of the cherry on top, another option is to add a shop floor workflow. So you can really automate the entire workflow, basically minimize human errors and, well, how should I say this? Optimize your resources. For example, before you start this process, the system can check, are tools in the job I have to, the job at hand, are the tools maybe already used, or are they already in machine or assembled in stock? And then I can optimize kind of my setup, and reducing the setup time, of course, tremendously. And of course, if all those things are in place, if you bring everything together, if you manage the tool, we have our shop floor automation, we get tool life out of the machine, we have transparency, big data. That's of course kind of the next step: evaluation, analytics, and really smart manufacturing. And I always like to call it a knowledge-based dynamic process. And this is only possible if you have digital tool management. But it's also important to point out, no matter how small you start, and I would actually recommend to start small, to be honest. No matter how small you start, could be like a knowledge base for a CAM programmer or optimizing tool crib. It really doesn't matter, because you have tremendous benefits from the tool management. And in the end of the day, tool management enables you to be more productive, and by that basically stay competitive in today's marketplace. Yeah, and with that, I'm almost done. It was a brief introduction into tool management. I hope there was some useful information in it for you. If you want to know a little bit more, or you need a recap of today's topic, I can recommend a couple of videos on our YouTube channel. The ones I really like is, one is Sandvik Mebben. It's a customer, but it's also very entertaining and educational. I really like that video. We have one which is called The Simple Show. It explains the process very, very nicely. And of course, if CAM programming is your thing, we have nice videos about the CAM interfaces also on our YouTube channel. I wanted to show you something live in the software, but we're a little bit short on time. I will definitely do this on Friday in the quote unquote why session. It's a promise, because I really want to show you in the software how tool management looks like. But today, I want to have a little time, a couple minutes for your questions. So if you want, you can just write them in the chat window, and I will try to answer them right now. Or if you don't have time, then I will answer them offline when we're done. What you can also do, if you want, or if you can find me on LinkedIn, or if you want to send us an email, send me your questions, and maybe we can also follow up on it in the next session. So let me see if there are any questions. Okay, then I would say, anyway, we have our 20 minutes. Send us our questions offline, no problem. We can answer whatever you want. I really, really hope this was a helpful, a useful webinar for you guys. And of course, we have a nice little questionnaire or another poll for you. And you can let me know if this webinar was actually interesting for you, helpful for you. And the same thing. Oh, I just heard there are actually questions. I don't see them. Here we go. Let me check that real quick. Let me double check that question. Nah, I cannot see it, of course. Okay, I think it's answered. I will answer everything else after the webinar. So for today, I would say thank you very much. I really hope to see you again on Friday. And please stay safe, stay healthy. And yeah, who knows, maybe in the future when all the travel restrictions are no longer in place, to see you in person somewhere around the world. Thank you, and yeah, see you all.